Hello. I want to speak to you today about Joseph in the Bible. It says a lot about him in Genesis 37, chapter 37. And I want to speak to you a little bit about him and his life, because his life he's like a comparison to Jesus, Joseph. And there are many Joseph out there. Maybe you are living a Joseph life. Many of us has had that type of life. Joseph, he was hated and loved. He was favored and he was also abused. He was tempted and also trusted, exalted and abased. Yet at no point in the 110 years he lived in Joseph's life, he never seemed to get his eyes away from God. Joseph was a very faithful man of God, and he was faithful from the beginning. He was faithful his whole life. He had great faithfulness to his God. So all the adversity that he faced didn't harden his character. His prosperity that he entered into through Pharaoh did not ruin him, because he was so humble on the inside and broken from his early age. So he was like the same person private as he would be in public. He was a good man. So he was a man of God. That is a parable to Jesus, actually, in the Old Testament. So when he was little, when he was 17 years old, he told his brethren, he has brothers, that he had a dream. First, they didn't like him because his father Jacob favorized him. It seemed that Jacob loved him more than he loved his other sons, and that also was a bad reason for the brethren to treat him bad, to be jealous. So Jacob had a mantle, a tunic made for him, and it was made in many different colors, and that symbolized some kind of royalty, some kind of priesthood. It's like a princely status that mantle is telling us, because the shorter mantles they used was more for the workers, the hard workers, and the long mantles that people got was more a priestly, royal kind of mantle. It speaks about his birthright, the mantle he had. So it was kind of a garment that told people about the status, the privilege of his status. And that mantle was the clothing that the brothers ripped him off. They wanted to kill him. When he spoke about his dreams from early age, that he dreamt that his brothers would one day bow down to him, I don't think that was so wise, to be honest with you. I think Joseph should never have told his brethren, because if you tell your dream to people, you can be more attacked. So we have to be careful who we tell our dreams to, because there are a lot of jealous people out there, even in the body of Christ. They can't stand that you get favor, for example, that you are chosen to do something different than they. And when they see your blessing, they will get jealous. And when jealous people act out, they're mean. Even if the Christians, it's like the devil coming through them. They want to take you down. They want to hurt you. They want to find something, a weakness, something to talk bad about you, gossip you, and get as much as people as they can to hate you, to be in line with their jealousy, to really, and it's the enemy that's behind jealousy for sure. It is a heavy spirit. So this was the attack he faced in the early age of his life, that his own family was turning against him. And I know when you are called by God, you will suffer persecution. And it can come from your own blood. And it can be your sisters, your brothers, your mother, your father, your own kid. It could be your own family that you love and you raised with them, you brought up with them. But still, when it comes to ministry, when God is going to use you, when you have an assignment, the enemy strikes many times, like he did with Joseph, through our siblings, through our family members, because that really hurt. Because when we go through life with God, we know that there is a lot of attacks. God uses pain to build character in us, so we can handle a lot of struggle after a while, and it's not so hurtful when people out there are mean to us as if a family member would be mean to you and me. That will really hurt, right? So that is something the enemy can do to many of us, is to use our own family, our own blood, to really break us, to try to break us. But you see, that promise that you have on the inside will only be tested through that struggle, through that persecution, because what God says to you and me is the truth. So even if we face deserts, rejections, struggles, pain, gossip, people hating on us, it doesn't matter what kind of facts coming against you and me in this life. When you have an assignment from God, that assignment will come through, and he will use, you will see when you look back, you will see that many of the things you have been through of hardships was necessary for you to be shaped into your vision and dream. So God has the big overview of our lives. He has the big picture, and we have to trust him. Joseph, he showed great trust in God through all this. And we shall do the same, to trust God even when we face hardship from our own family members. We should look up to God and still believe that one day God will make you and I successful. He will make his promise come true, no matter the circumstances. No matter who is talking bad about you, no matter what happened in your life, that promise, that vision, that dream that you carry will manifest one day, because it is God's dream over your life. And nothing in this earth can stop that. Nothing of people in the body of Christ or your neighbors, your family, they can come against you, but they cannot break you. They cannot break that promise of God over your life. So he was a little stupid. He told his dream. Maybe he was a little pride. I don't know. He will probably knew that they will be more mean to him because they hated him already. So that was not so wise. I think he grew into more wisdom later in life. And the family also lived, I looked it up, they lived in a city called Shechem. And that city was very worldly, sinful place. So they were under some influence, I believe, from that city, that atmosphere over that city that had a worldly influence. So they attacked their brother, and they put him in the pit. And he was screaming from that pit for many years. And they were so hardened in their hearts, so they were very close to him. That pit was very close to the home, but still they pretend they didn't listen. They were so hardened in their hearts, so it took years before they were softened in their heart enough to open that pit and take him up. and they lie. They cover their sin for their father. They said that Joseph had died, and they sold him to Pharaoh. They sold him for 22 silver pennies to Pharaoh. And that is also a picture of Jesus. When Judas sold his friend, he betrayed him with his silver money. So he was kind of stripped in his character, Joseph, by being picked up from that pit with no mantle, nothing, just naked, and came to Pharaoh's house, and then he ended in prison. And a lot of struggles happened there too. So it was many years, I think it was around 11 years from he came there until he was like a prime minister for Pharaoh. But he had to go through a lot of struggle. He was 2 years in prison, and they accused him for adultery, and that was, you know, of course, fake. He was very wise at that time. He didn't spend time alone with a temptation. He made sure that he should not be alone with that woman that wanted to be with him. So, but she put out that rumor, and then he went into prison, and all this stuff happened. And all these things also had to happen, I believe, for Joseph to become Joseph. And when he was in prison, he had this gift to interpret dreams. So the prisoners used him as an interpreter of their dreams, and the rumors went up to Pharaoh, and he had a dream from God. So then Joseph was moved up, and finally he ended as a prime minister. And after many years, when the land was suffering, and he had interpreted that dream for Pharaoh, that there will be 7 bad years and 7 good years, his brothers came to him and bowed down in front of him, like he had dreamed when he was a little boy. And so he got his glory back. He got his favor back. They looked up to him. They were ashamed. They understood. First, they didn't recognize him because he was so changed. But inside Joseph, this fantastic man was there all the time, because God saw from the beginning that he will be a man who will sit next to Pharaoh. And that is the same thing with you and me. We need these struggles. We need these rejections, these temptations, everything that we are tested through this life before we enter into our promise, because we need to be strong. We need to show ourselves and God that we are building character. Through all this hardship, we learn to trust God. We learn to trust His word inside of us. That whatever you and I are carrying on the inside, the dream, the vision, what you have seen about your life in the future, one day you will be there. You have to just believe and don't lose the vision because you are under pressure or are facing rejection from your family or a lot of bad stuff that can happen to us. Look in the Bible to these great men and also women of God who were suffering persecution because they were followers of God, followers of Christ. And it's something with suffering that God allows. Even in the New Testament, He is like entrusting us with some pain. He has the control. We have to believe when we are under pressure, under pain, He is still there. Even if it's tough, even if it's many years where you're lonely, that could be really, really hard to not have so many friends and be rejected and misunderstood by family being used by people. Maybe you're a good person and people are misleading you, they're using your naivety, and they are, mean to you. They're not treating you right. It's difficult sometimes to believe that there is a righteous God in those hours of our lives. But you see, I've been going through a lot of pain too. I'm a product of a lot of pain and suffering in my life. Yes, from I was a little girl, I've been fighting and struggling through heavy circumstances. But I always believed in God. I always held on to Jesus' mantle. Even if I sometimes didn't feel the presence of God, I didn't see that God was in my life all the time. It looked like the opposite. But I still hold on because I needed to have hope. I needed to have something to lean on, that I use my faith, that I will get out of this. This will pass. This will not last forever. Pain doesn't last forever. Deserts ends. Lonely times ends. It's seasonal. The pain, the struggle, everything we go through, it's a part of the price we have to pay for carrying a great God. Like Joseph. But look what happened to Joseph. Look what he became. A mighty man of God. So if we don't slip, if we don't let go of that dream but hold on, even if it takes years, because it will mostly take years. People think that it's just around the corner, maybe in 6 months I will be there, and you can go straight from being born again right into the ministry. I don't think so. No. You have to be built by God. And the way He builds us is often through pain, through hardship, through struggle, with all these question marks we have on the inside where we wonder where God is. But when you turn, you will see that God has been there all the time. And He's shaping and forming us as it is best to Him. And you would not have become that person you are today. You would not be in that place where you are today if it wasn't for the struggle in your life. The loneliness, the rejection, all the hardship you and I faced. And it's not going to stop. I'm not painting a black picture. I'm just telling you how it is. That this life is under darkness in many ways. This life here is, this earth is so dark in many ways, and there is an enemy, and he's using people's lives to shoot at us. See, for example, rejection. You'll probably reject it again. But you will be so whole on the inside, in that wound, in that area, and so filled by God that you will not care if people reject you. You will not care. Because you know better. You will get stronger and stronger and wiser, and your dream will take over your whole life. Your vision will be the thing that rules you. So you will see that what God said to you is true. It is true. It's going to happen. Just hold on to your dream and let pain and facts that you don't like shape you into that person that fit that dream. Okay? So you can be a mighty man and woman of God. God bless you, my friends. Have a wonderful Monday. I'll see you soon.